today is the statement about how much is being done, how much is being achieved in that one short year since you took office. And I will echo, us Israelis, we're known for many things. One of the things we're known for is not being so easy on the security situation. So when when we had the conversation and said, please come visit us, this is about good and evil. This is about civilization and barbarism. Either you stand with people who are defending themselves, or you stand with those who cut the heads off babies. That's what this is about. It's not about anything else. Okay? We are in Nigeria at the moment, and unfortunately Nigeria has also known terrorism. You know what it's like when terror groups like Boko Haram kidnap young girls. There's never a reason for it except for hate. When terrorists blow up the United Nations building here in Abuja, there's no reason for it except for hate. This is not about religion. This is not about Islam or Judaism or Christianity. This is about evil and good. These Hamas terrorists are not acting in the name, they're using the name of Islam. But there is no Muslim, and I have spoken to many, many Muslims, imams, religious leaders who have expressed their shock and their outrage and their disgust of what we've seen, because they know that this gives a bad name to anybody who is claiming to be doing this in the name of Islam, and they're not. And it should be really, really clear that this is really nothing to do with that. So Israel is going to do what it needs to do in the coming days and weeks in order to destroy Hamas. Because if you want peace and you want to see an accommodation between Israelis and Palestinians, then Hamas can have no part of that. These are not people who you have peace with. I remind you of two other things. That in 1993 we signed the Oslo Accords, which was meant to be a new age of peace with Israel and the Palestinians. The first people to reject that were Hamas. Hamas were the ones who say there can never be peace, there can never be anything but the destruction of Israel, the death of all Israelis, the death of all Jews. And those people who say, well, maybe this is about occupation. In 2005, Israel left the Gaza Strip. Every single soldier, every single civilian left. Every single one, every single Israeli. So this is not about that. This is not about it at all in any way whatsoever. And we as a people are in shock. We are in mourning. And anybody who tries to justify this, I think that is clear to all of us, that anyone who won't condemn this, anyone who won't come out in a clear voice condemning this, needs to ask where their moral compass is. Because if you can't loudly and clearly condemn the murder of nearly 1,000 civilians.
Actually, is the reason why we are seeing so much uprising, and they are saying we don't need an Israeli in Nigeria. If you said you don't need an Israeli in Nigeria, you are quite clearly that you do not want a Christian in Nigeria, and that's what it means. Because the Israel stands for Christianity anywhere in the world, and they stand to defend anything that has to do with Christianity. The Nigerian government has been very silent, and I pray that Bola Tinubu should take action against this kind of anti-religious sentiment factored into the issue of security. It is not about ego. It's not about rough ego making that kind of statement. But the fact still remains that Israeli government themselves has actually shown solidarity for Christians, and of course for Biafra, giving the killings that has been going on, that has also been recognized and documented by the international community as a yardstick, to take up the Biafra movement to any organization, to any nation for solidarity and support. And that is what we need. If the Northerners are saying that they do not need anything Israel in Nigeria, and that in fact that Tinubu should make sure that that very ambassador that had a very deep engagement with government officials led by Bianca Ojukwu and other people. And I think after that, saying it, that everything that's happening in Nigeria, between Nigeria and Biafra, between Muslim Nigeria and Christian Biafra, are being documented by the global community. And at the appointed time, they are going to release evidences that will show that Biafra deserves to be a sovereign nation, and Biafra deserves to separate from Nigeria. All the diplomatic engagement around the world currently now concerning Nigeria is facing a global resistance, given what the stand of the Nigerian government in killing of Christians. When Amnesty International reported a few days ago, was a very big indictment on the side of the Nigerian military, who people see, as not really giving security, but protecting the security of people who are bent on destroying lives and property. Then any form of resistance in that regard, maybe from Easterners, are being seen as a direct attack or resistance or defense to the Islamic agenda. And that is why you can see some of these soldiers have come out on several occasions and alerted the world on what is going on. And what is actually going on, that the Nigerian military might not be totally engaged in providing security for both the Yorubas, for both the Northerners, for both the Easterners. And the question is this now, why are they in the Southeast? Then there's a report also in that regard, linking deeply the activities and decisions taken by the late President Muhammadu Buhari, having brought the entire, repentant Boko Haram and deployed them to the eastern Nigeria. So it was actually deliberate, according to the report we are seeing, that over 2,000, 3,000 Biafrans were actually murdered and killed by Buhari and his terrorist Islamic Nigeria military. I'm making reference. You can go and find out, how Amnesty came up with that report, and what justified that, and what triggered the reaction from the Canadian government for banning this party having link and sponsorship to these people who are bent on conquering. I keep on saying it. The problem is not the Southwest, the problem are the Biafrans. And outside that, imagine what it would look like in the absence of somebody like nnamdikanu, who have, alerted the world on what is going on. And to an extent, the Jewish Federation of Jewish organizations around the world, have demanded that nnamdikanu must be released, and that there's no how they will compare the issue of Gaza with that of Biafra. That Biafran issue is significant because Biafra has not taken arms against any organization, against any country, against any institution, against any government. That what Biafrans are looking for, are asking for, is for them to separate themselves and be able to defend themselves at every point, and without being compromising in the unity of being involved in compromising in the unity of Nigeria. What do I mean by compromising? We must understand very well, that the security architecture in Nigeria, in the police, in the army, and everywhere, seems to be, infiltrated, seems to be lopsided, seems to be working against the interest of people who are not seen with arms, especially people who are asking for the world to recognize their own freedom and sovereignty. While Hamas was just, an arm swing of the Palestinian government, who has sworn an oath to destroy anything that has to do with Christianity anywhere in the world. And the suspicion that if Canadian government can come out and do that, and saying these parties are terrorist organizations, these APC and PDP are terrorist organizations, what does that tells you? What does that signify? What do you stand to gain from that information? The Nigerian media might not be able to publish it. You know, a lot of people might not be able to react to that. But what they are trying to let the world know at this point in time, you know, they are behind what is happening, and they come as a political party. You know, they come as an organization or a tool for to climb into a position of authority and with a hidden agenda. That's what it means. And what is the hidden agenda? And to continue the conquest, to continue the Islamization of Nigeria, to continue the destruction, you know, destabilization and oppression and suppression of the Biafrans. And it has come to the notice of the Israeli government, and they decided at this point in time to send a delegate from the Israeli government, and that was what has triggered what the reactions now from the north. And if you look at the number of people who are reacting to the presence of Israeli in Biafran land, they are just saying, who are they? Are they Hausas? Are they Fulanis? That's the question. Who are the people from the north who are against the Israeli presence in Nigeria? The question we are asking, who are they? Are they Fulanis and they Hausas? But I can tell you from information we gathered that majority of these people who are reacting are major political actors and extremists associated with the agenda of Islamization and Fulanization of Nigeria, the conquest agenda. I keep on saying it. A lot of people might not be able to understand each time we come on this kind of very platform, and we are expressing and alerting you for you to, you know, understand where we are. I keep on saying it, you know, political parties we are seeing in Nigeria, political actors, governors, senators, and all of them, are they actually working for the genuine interests of the people? That's the question we are asking. Or are they just using political parties, you know, to climb to a position of authority where they can now have automatic control and be able to, you know, carry out a kind of agenda that does not suit a certain region, or that they feel that it is part of domination and oppression and suppression, so that they be able to control the commonwealth and the wealth of those regions. And the significant resistance that have been seen so far is the one that was led by nnamdikanu, and that's the reason why nnamdikanu is still in detention up to this moment. And the Igbo leaders, political leaders themselves, you know, are they not actually seeing the handwriting on the wall? Are they also a threat to the Igbo race, to the Igbo nation, to the Igbo tribe? And that has signaled what we are hearing, that there is this global, you know, uprising for Igbo communities, both those home and abroad, to begin to come together for a proper alliance and proper referendum when it will be conducted by the powers that be. I believe that it will come to pass, given when the whole thing will be factored in. A lot of things are playing on the ground. Biafra is a reality, and I believe that Biafra will come. And one of the things why the world leaders are meeting over how to handle the issues of West Africa, Nigeria, and the Sahel nations, you know, with Russia factor inside, with China factor inside, you know, with American factor inside, with British factor inside, is how do they now go about, you know, saving land. I remember to an extent that United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has also, you know, been fingered to have been taking up serious issues concerning the anti-Christian killing that is going on globally now, under the disguise that, you know, they are not allowed to exist, or they should be wiped out of existence, or they should surrender to a particular region. And they are also looking at, you know, the only way to cover up this thing and to put a proper check, you know, on the infiltration and ongoing conquest, politically and otherwise, is to establish a nation like Biafra within West Africa that will stand tall, you know, in terms of resistance, that will stand tall to defend civility, that will stand tall to defend Africa, that will stand tall to defend the black race, that will stand tall to defend the Igbo nation, the people who have never, according to history, you know, the Igbo man has never for one day carried arms against anybody in terms of conquest, in terms of religion, sentiment, in terms of whatever. The agenda of of an average Igbo man anywhere in the world is live and let live.